1460 WVOX.
All right, Racing for Heroes fans, it's Brett Morash. We are here. It is Friday, May 7th. We are on WVOX 1460 AM. And today we're having some amazing guests. Our first guest is Sergeant Major Mario Cockrell, who is the representative of BeaverFit group, and he helps people getting physically fit. And without further ado, Sergeant Major Cockrell, are you on the line?
I sure am. How's it going this morning, Brett?
It's going great. It's going great. So you must be down in Fayetteville, so you're probably getting the same weather I am up in Alton.
Yeah, sure am.
Yeah, that's great. And what are you out running 5K runs now, like all that sort of hoo-ha stuff that you Army guys like to do?
No, not so much.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us, I know you served in the Army for a pretty long time, and you're friends with a long-time Racing for Heroes, Bubba, Adam Benaway. But you started back in 1987, at the very end of the Cold War. So you were getting ready to go fight communism, and it all fell apart. But you stayed in for a lot longer than that. So tell us about that.
Yeah, sure did. Did 24 total years as a parachute infantryman, and like you said, I came in right at the tail end of the Cold War. You being a Navy guy, you know how large each service branch was back then.
Oh yeah,
it was like 20 divisions back then, and right after the Gulf War, things started. The drawdowns and BRAC and all of that, and literally at the 10-year mark, I guess I figured out I was going to stay a little longer, and went on to 24.
Yeah, for sure. And were you 82nd Airborne that whole time, or where did you serve?
No, I actually didn't get to the 82nd until I was a staff sergeant. So I kind of served all around the Army. Was in Korea. Was at Fort Carson on a long-range surveillance detachment. We were kind of like the eyes and ears of the division. And,
sure.
And then ended up in the 82nd. and was a drill sergeant, and went back to the 82nd. And at the beginning of the war, I was, and I'm talking about this war, that is, the GWAT, Global War on Terrorism. I was an OC at the beginning of it down at JRTC, Observer Controller.
Okay.
Months. And then served in Italy in the 173rd. Went to Afghanistan with them, and me and Adam Benaway, we both were in Iraq together in my last combat deployment. And then about a year after being in that Airborne Cavalry unit in the 82nd with Adam, I retired later on as the Deputy Commandant of the Fort Bragg NCO Academy.
Oh, that's a big deal at the NCO Academy. I mean, I know for the the Navy, it's a huge deal. I'm assuming it's the same for the Army.
Oh yeah. That's the we were teaching the then it was called the Warrior Leader course. Is now called the Basic Leader course, but literally it's the first official formal training of leadership for young E4s becoming a non-commissioned officer.
Yeah, and I think that that's important for our listeners to realize is that, one of the things that I think the military prides itself on is the quality of its education and making sure that people are equipped, mentally and, just kind of knowledge for those leadership positions they're being put into. And a lot of those folks are pretty young, right? I mean, you can make E4 in the Army, I think, in a couple of years if you're a hard charger.
Oh yeah, sure. Your first 24 months, if everything goes right in your performance, and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, I do believe in the first 24 months you can pin on specialists.
Oh yeah, okay. Now wait, now I know this is a little different in the Army and the Navy, but specialists are they NCOs or no? Right, you have to be a corporal, right, in order to.
Right. So. Unlike the Marine Corps just has a corporal. The Army has a specialist, and that's a It's an E4 that is a non-leadership position, but we also have the lateral promotion, also E4 corporal as well, and those are young leaders that are filling mostly a sergeant's position, a Sergeant E5's position.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I know that that's like a combat leader role for the military. So that's like I said, not all of our listeners probably know that, because even in the Navy, like we have petty officer third classes, which is technically an NCO, but you can be on a ship as an E4 still taking the trash out. But I know, like in the Marines, a corporal ain't taking the trash out. So
No.
Not one bit. So let's talk about transition. So like I know you're a BeaverFit now, but like when you first came out of the military, what did you do?
So I actually went to work. I always tell people I was very lucky. I went to work for one of the Defense Logistics Agency's prime vendors. It was a company called Darley Defense.
Okay.
Out of Chicago, and I was the Southeast representative for the company, working with units in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida primarily. And I did that for about my first 8 years. And I didn't realize how great of an opportunity that was going to be, going into it. It was a sales job, and everybody says from the military, "Oh, I don't know anything about sales," but honestly, if you were a pretty good leader, you were selling a lifestyle, you were selling
right.
A product, you were selling the military to young people, and you didn't even know it.
Right. Yeah, we called it motivation, I think, was probably the
right.
Because I know the Army does more before 0600 than most people do all day, or I think that was probably the one that you joined on. Like that was the commercial, I think. I remember the pickup challenge one from like when Stripes was a movie. So that's kind of the one I remember as a kid. So tell us, Mario, tell us a little bit about BeaverFit. What do they do, and what are you doing for them?
So 2 years ago, I transitioned from Darley Defense, where I was providing BeaverFit to DoD organizations in the Southeast, and I moved over to BeaverFit to start working Army business development, literally nationwide. Where I'll go in and I'll engage and educate leaders on what our capabilities are. We have a core product that most people see on military bases, which is our performance lockers, which is, in essence, it's a container filled with gym equipment with some type of what we call outers, which is a squat rack or pull-up bar combination on the outside. It can all be stored on the inside and deployed to a austere location where the unit can pull everything out, set it up, and literally have what the Army calls in slang a gym in a box on the deployment.
Yeah.
It's really something I wish we had when I was in, and that's our core product that was literally started like 8 years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
And we have moved away from that, or not away from that, but we've expanded. And the great thing about BeaverFit is, we work with all of the big human performance companies out there, so we don't want to step in their lane.
Yeah.
So what we do is literally a bunch of customized products that align with a lot of our initiatives in the Army's holistic health and fitness program, which is brand new. It kind of models a special operations program called POTUF and Thor 3, which reduces injuries, and it makes special operation folks stronger, faster, and just better soldiers. So the big Army is going to do the same thing, and they call their program H2F, and the Marine Corps has a program along the same lines that they have named Force Fitness.
That's really cool.
what we do at BeaverFit is we want to align closely with those initiatives, so that any command that wants to, follow the doctrine of that service branch's initiative, that they can come to us and we'll provide that solution. Whether it be a outdoor training area or obstacle course or a semi-permanent facility structure, and we even do some non-human performance things like range lockers, rappel towers.
Oh, wow.
We're making these facilities for special operations to train underground in. It's whatever the current or future threats and initiatives that units need, BeaverFit's really trying to closely align with providing a solution for those.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. And, it sounds like, they're really listening to what the customer wants. And, and obviously since you've been in the military and you've been in on those deployments to like Afghanistan out in the field, you kind of understand what the other side of the procurement nickel requires.
Right, Brett. And what's also great about our company is about 95% of our workforce are all former military. As a matter of fact, on your behalf, our two co-owners are both former Riverine officers.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Which isn't even, that was an emerging field not too long ago for the Navy. It was something that we used to do in Vietnam, and then we kind of forgot how to do it. They had to kind of rebuild that entire knowledge base.
Yes. So there's a lot of experience, one with training and deployments, in our entire organization, and we respect what our customer is asking, and we kind of know how to ask questions so that we can get it right for them, using our experience to ask those questions, in order to get the right product to them.
For sure. And Mario, we're getting to the point where our next guest is waiting on the line right now. So I just want to thank you for all you've done in the military. Obviously, us Navy guys like to, pick on our Army brothers, but if it's not for you guys taking the high ground, like, it doesn't happen. So, I truly appreciate everything you do.
No problem, Brett. And I really appreciate you guys having me on, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing out there. And shout out to my man, Adam Benaway. Love that guy.
Yeah, well, we're going to see him tomorrow. He's coming up for our fundraiser, Gunning with Green Berets, so which is tomorrow. So if you're around too, please come on up. Bring the kids. All right, thanks so much. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Mario Cockrell, retired Sergeant Major from the U.S. Army, and now is the U.S. representative for BeaverFit. We're going to switch gears now, and while Mario is talking about physical fitness and those sorts of things, our next guest is Ursula Palmer. She is the executive director for the Cybercrime Network, the Cybercrime Support Network's military and veteran programs. She is, her biography is amazing. I suggest you take a look at it on their website, but she has done all sorts of things to help veteran community, and we're so happy to have her here. So, Ursula, you're on the line?
Brett, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
No, well, thank you for being on. I think that what you have to talk about today is super important, and is one of those things that, so little people know about how to deal with, but like everyone is impacted every day with cybercrime. In fact, I actually got an email the other day that I just had a feeling was a scam. They were trying to get me to click on a link, and I was pretty close to doing it. And I actually replied to the email and said, "Hey, I'm not comfortable clicking on a link," and it went to a dead email. So I think it's one of those ones where it can happen to anyone, even people who are pretty sophisticated and looking for it.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I mean, and these cyber criminals have so many good ways to get through that you just never know. I mean, you think that it looks very, very real, it looks legit, and it's very easy to fall for it.
Yeah, and in this one, I'll just share with listeners, whoever the criminal was, they actually went through our website to the submission, which of course comes to the to me as like an email, and it said that they were so like it looks like it did come directly from our submission part of our site, and then when you're seeing that, it was complaining about like pictures that we had posted and that they were unhappy and they were the photographer and they wanted us to take it down or they were going to sue us. And here was the link to show us what the pictures were. And so it was like super sophisticated, and I was, like I said, I was just like something was just off about it.
Well, very good for you, that you had the chance to stop for a second and think and see that something was not right. Unfortunately, a lot of us are in a hurry, and it's very easy. It doesn't matter how sophisticated or how much knowledge we have. Sometimes just because we're in a hurry, we want to just get through what we need to do, and we're going to click on that link.
Yep.
So good for you.
Yeah, no, I was lucky, and like I said, I'm one of those people that likes to mess with scammers on the phone. We can talk about that in another show. But anyway, but let's take a quick step back, Ursula. So I know that you've been a Cybercrime Support Network, but what exactly is that?
Well, Cybercrime Support Network is a public-private nonprofit who serves individuals and small businesses impacted by cybercrime.
Mm-hmm. And it's so like it can help individuals like veterans?
Everyone. So what happens is Cybercrime Support Network just launched a military and veteran campaign thank you to a grant from Craig Newmer Philanthropies. And this program is part of a new partnership, the Partnership to Fight Cybercrime,
mm-hmm.
which is a bold new alliance where Cybercrime Support Network, military and veteran service organizations, government entities, foundations, corporations, we all are banding together to educate and mobilize the military community
mm-hmm.
to do three things: recognize, report, and recover from cybercrime. So really, anyone in the military and veteran space who cares and supports our community, should, we're happy to welcome them and provide all of these resources. I invite everyone who's listening to go and take a look to what we can provide at no cost for the entire military and veteran community.
So it's free.
Cybercrime.org. Yeah, military.
Yeah, and it's free because, of course, Craig Newmark and his philanthropic arm has been able to make that happen for us. And what's the website? If I'm interested in taking a look, where do I go?
Where you can go is fightcybercrime.org
mm-hmm.
/military.
Fight
so
cybercrime.
What you're going to find there is, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just repeat it. So it's fightcybercrime.org /veterans.
/military.
/military. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And there you're going to find a specific information about all of the scams that affect the military and the scams that affect the entire population, of course. You're going to find easy to understand materials. You're going to find all of the information about how to recognize, a scam. Then if you think that you're being targeted, you will find out how to report that specific scam. And if unfortunately you have been impacted by it, we will give you the steps on what you can do to recover and then what you can do to reinforce your cybersecurity so that hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, no, and I think that that's important because, like you said before, I mean, there's a piece of this where, you have to be aware, but you also might have to do the recovery portion of it too. And so along those lines, is there any particular scams that are really targeted toward the military community in general?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, all of the scams that affect the general population are going to affect the military, but we have identified 8, the top 8. They are romance imposter scams, the typical phishing scams that come from government organizations, that look like come from government organizations like DFAS in our case.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Rental and real estate scams, family and friend imposter scams, extortion scams, education and scholarship scams, anything related with GI Bill.
Oh, sure.
Charity imposter scams, and fake military job scams. Those are the top 8. And again, if you go to fightcybercrime.org /military, you will find the information on each one of them, how to report, how to recover.
No, and I think that that's critical that, people understand that those are the scams, because like everything that you just read to me is something that, I might be looking to use my GI Bill for my daughter, or, I might be looking for a new job and leveraging my military veteran status, especially for those that are not, that are newly transferring out of the military into the civilian space where, it's a whole new world for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there, and especially now during the pandemic, the cyber criminals have found ways to target the military community in all aspects of their life. And it doesn't matter where in your journey in your military career you are, whether you're just recently enlisted, or you're a veteran, you're a retiree, you're a survivor, they will find risks and exploit those risks, and try to get, what you worked so hard to earn.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I mean, any of us can fall for these kind of things, and end up with viruses or keystroke loggers on our computers and all that sort of stuff. So it is pretty scary.
Correct. It is very scary. And there's, again, so many other things that you can be impacted by, and you will find all of them on fightcybercrime.org. I mean, financial scams, just all kind of different scams that I really recommend anyone to just go and take a look, read, because the more you know, the less the possibility there is that you're going to, fall for one of those things.
Yeah. No, and I think that's where the awareness part comes in, is that, you really need to kind of think through these things. And, as with any sort of crime, I mean, the criminals are always going to look for new avenues to try to take advantage. So I'm assuming you update things as things are changing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an ever-changing issue. Cybercrime is the fastest growing crime right now, not only in the United States, but globally. So, and unfortunately here in the United States, we're playing catch up. We don't have the legislation that we should have. We don't have the help that we should have. And that's where CSN comes. We want to provide a one stop for people who have been impacted by cybercrime to come and find the information they need.
That's great. That's great. And I know that, you run the veteran program, but why did that specifically get built out? Was there a particular need there, or was it specific to the military community?
Well, yes. I mean, like I mentioned, cybercrime is the fastest growing crime here and abroad, and the military and veteran community are disproportionately targeted by it.
Okay.
I mean, when service members, veterans, and their families are impacted by it, the damaging financial losses and the effect on the emotional, psychological, social well-being are going to lead into a devastating impact on their military careers and their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think about, for example, the active duty and the reserve component, cybercrime is not just going to affect the person, the individual, but it's going to end up affecting the overall readiness of the armed forces. And of course, you know this better than I do. When the readiness of the armed forces is affected, then our national security is affected as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just the individual, but it's the biggest scale, and what this causes to our nation and our armed forces.
Gotcha. Well, that's just amazing. We're getting sort of towards the end of the show, Ursula, so I figured I would just kind of change gears here. And as you know, it is Racing for Heroes, and I heard you have a connection to a Hot Rod for Heroes organization with your friend Ronnie Greenwood, who's recently passed away. But tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, he was my dear friend. He founded this organization, and they do several activities. And one of them is every year there's a race, and on the cards they put this sticker with the image of a fallen military person. I am a Gold Star spouse, so I lost my late husband while he was in active duty in Afghanistan, so
Sure.
I had the honor to have him there represented. Unfortunately, Ronnie died a couple months ago due to cancer. But yeah, that was my first and pretty much only relation to the racing world, and I was very thankful to have that opportunity and get to know Ronnie.
Well, it sounds like there's certainly an aligned organization to Racing for Heroes, so I appreciate what they do.
Absolutely, yes.
Wait, and I saw in your note though, what was your first car? That was the last question, Ursula.
My first car was a little Honda Civic, but now I want to give you a tip. I'm sure you ask this question to a lot of people, and if you remember, when you go to websites, sometimes they ask you for the security questions,
Right?
And that is one of the questions people ask. So anyone who's listening and who has been asked this question, make sure to go back to your different accounts and change the answer, because now all of the scammers know that my first car was a Honda Civic. So believe me, I am not going to have that as my answer to any.
That's a smart, and it's a good tip, and I think we'll have to leave it for that. So Ursula, thank you again, and it's www.cyber. I'm sorry, what is it? It's www.
FightCybercrime.org/military.
Great. FightCybercrime.org/military. So thank you very much, Ursula. We are truly appreciative you were on the show. And for our listeners out there, remember we do have our big fundraiser this week in Gunning with Green Berets and open house on Sunday. So hopefully if you can get down here, that'd be great. If you can't, we always love you to look at our website, www.racingforheroes.org. So with that, we will shift over to the real Doug Lane and a little further down the road. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Good show, Brett.
Thanks, Alex.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye, buddy.